Международното ни пътешествие от Македония продължава към Сърбия.
Следващият ни лектор долетя от гейт Чарли 6 на летище Никола Тесла, Белград, с полет Juliet Uniform 122 и френско-италиански самолет АТР 72-202 с 66 места, дължина и разпереност 27 метра, максимална скорост 510 км в час и двигател с подобрен перформанс. Но това едва ли е толкова важно.
Колега, подобреният перформанс винаги е важен, особено преди cheat sheet. Така че и трябва постоянно да се тества, подобрява и така нататък.
Следващата ни лекция е именно за перформанс тестинг.
Dusanka Lecic е доктор по техническите науки, тест девелопър и департмент менеджер в Levi9 Technology Serbia и се е посветила на тестването на софтуер. Когато има вдъхновение, пише авторски песни, а в свободното си време се занимава и с деца с аутизъм.
Това сега, аз след като прочетох целият този анонс, разбрах защо името и толкова много звучи като лечител на души. Моля вашите аплодисменти за Dusanka Lecic!
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is, as they said, Dusanka Lecic. I'm from Serbia, small town Zrenjanin. My company is Levi9 IT Services, Dutch company with delivery centers in few countries, Romania, Ukraine, Serbia. About 1,000 people. We are an outsourcing company. The short introduction about me was that I'm test developer and also department manager for QAs in my town. I like to be in conferences and to presenting my knowledge, to spread my network, social network, of course, with other QAs. I'm a PhD of technical science since 2016, and also I'm speaking 4 different languages. So, my topic for today is performance testing. In some previous conferences, I was speaking about different tools in performance testing and how to use it, give some examples to the people who participate and some demos also. But today I would like to tell you the story about performance testing, why is it important to us. What is performance testing, to also see some common performance problems and how it is going testing process in performance testing, also to give some short story about metrics and how to use them, and some small examples of test cases in performance testing. Usually we are working functional testing in our companies as QAs. Also, okay, it's everything okay. We usually do the functional testing, like regression testing, we automate something, we have also manually testing, but very rarely we are doing performance testing, non-functional testing at all. Sometimes my company is outsourcing company, and because of that the client have some specifications, requirements, and so on, and we are doing what the clients want. And sometimes we have some little time to do the non-functional testing. What is non-functional testing? We check security, we check speed, scalability, reliability of our applications. Also, it is very important to check usability of applications and some other types of non-functional testing. One of the type is performance testing, and I think it is very important for us. Why is important? Because the clients want something stable, to have good responses, to have good load, for application to be with a good speed also, and because of all that we are doing performance testing. Actually, we determine the behavior of our application. My company works mostly with web applications, so my presentation will be based on web applications and web software. So what is the focus of performance testing? I think most of the focus is on speed, scalability and reliability of software. So we have a lot of ways to examine the speed and scalability and reliability, and if the user wants to use our application, it is very important for us that before our application go on live, that we have some speed, some good response for the end user, and for client to be satisfied with that. So if we have a bad product with very pure scalability, with pure load and so on, the end user will use it once, but no one wants to use it again if it is with poor performance testing. We have a lot of different types performance testing. One of the types that is most important is load testing. Load testing is a type of performance testing that actually determine bottlenecks in our performance testing, and when we know bottlenecks, we can fix it, and we are bringing a totally good performing, and our application is then ready for production. So we have also stress testing. Stress testing is giving the application a load to start a breakpoint in stress testing, so the moment before crashing the application. That is assignment for the QA in stress testing. We also have some different types, other different types. Those types are spike testing also. Those types are volume testing, endurance testing. Endurance testing is for a long period of time to have a stable application for a various number of different users. And what is going on now? I have some problems with. Okay. Okay. So why we are doing performance testing? We are doing it because of the clients, because of the reason that we must have a good product, stable product before release on production. And if we do it on right way and plan it good, we have then special good product, and client is satisfied, and sale is very good then. So end users are satisfied also. So I think it's the best way to plan and to have a good performance testing. So we have also some common problems in performance testing. When we are starting with performance testing, usually we don't know mostly anything. My first time was like, okay, I must do some performance testing. What is performance testing? Okay, I will use JMeter, I heard about that. It's free tool. Okay, I can download it, install it. Some HTTP request, something is like okay, it's green, everything is perfect, but no, it isn't like that. We must carefully plan and carefully bring the performance testing on one good level. So we must care about long load time. So when we start as an end user, our application, we expect of a web application to load quickly. If it isn't like that, we have some problems and I don't want to use it anymore. It's like I use it once and it takes time and I'm waiting and waiting and I ask myself what is wrong with this application and I don't want to use it anymore. So long load time is a time that is needed for application to start. Also, we must care about poor response time. Response time is time needed for application to give some response when I input some data and I'm waiting some response. I don't want to be slow, like I want to be quickly to get it like 4 seconds is average for response time. Sometimes we cannot do that with some applications, but load time and response time, then load time will be like under 1 minute. That is most likely for some big applications with a lot of requests. Also, scalability is very important because poor scalability makes us unsatisfied also, and we have some problems about that, and it's one common problem more for us as a QAs. So we have also bottlenecking. What is bottlenecking? It's mostly connected with some requirements like CPU utilization, hardware utilization, network utilization, and we can improve our performance testing by adding some hardware and improving our network and so on. So those are only 4 of many common problems that we have in performance testing. Also, before I start with the performance testing process, I want to say to you that I used in previous time and using now also some different tools. We have a lot of tools, free, open source and commercial tools in market. I suggest JMeter as free tool that is very good, and we have a lot of elements that we are adding, and we can assert. So we have a lot of protocols supported by JMeter also, and we can use JMeter for small projects, but also for bigger projects. For small projects, I used also Locust that is based on Python. It's a good tool, and I use it sometimes. Now I have one bigger project in my company, so we used Load Runner. And before 1 year ago, I used also Gatling that is based on Scala. But we have also some other tools. I didn't use them, but know for them, like NeoLoad, like NinjaLoad, and so on. Many good frameworks are also there. I say tool, but Locust is mostly framework based on Python. It's a simple code. Like we are doing automation mostly, so it's like writing the code and understanding it. We have a lot of good some kind of a suggestion about tools, but those are some of them. And we want to try some tool. We must examining the tools and find some tool that is adequate to our project before we are starting with our performance testing. So when we want to start performance testing, it's first step to identify our testing environments. Like, do we have testing environment? Usually, yes. Do we have some production environment to see configurations of environments and to know about software that we are using, about hardware that is used in performance testing, also network configurations, a lot of things before we can start our performance testing. So next step for QAs is to define performance acceptance criteria. Usually we have some requirements from the clients, and based on that clients we are making some acceptance criteria for loading, for speed, for everything. What is the response time? Sometimes clients don't know exactly what they want, so we need to help them. So we must need to know process and all the configurations, all the requirements of our application. So we need to know very good our application that we must test. The next step is to plan and to design our performance testing. We are preparing our system, we are preparing our application, our data, everything, thinking about the requirements, and based on requirements we are plan our scenarios for testing. Sometimes I didn't figure out how to test and what to use, and I researched a lot. I do it a lot of things, and based on that now I know that I must figure out what is going on in my application, what is the potential breakpoint or potential bottleneck that is a problem for my application. So it's very important for us to plan to start with my performance testing. So after the step of planning, carefully planning, we must take some further step, and that is configuring our test environment and preparing all for running the tests. We are writing our test scenarios, creating, and after the configuring the test environment, we are usually running our tests. We get some results. We must know what are the results of our testing. Because of understanding the results and preparing a better performance testing, because every result needs analyze, and after analyzing we must sometimes, usually, always tune it and retest again. That is very important because with every retest we are bringing some performance testing on higher level, and with that level we have a better performance testing, so our client is more satisfied with that kind of performance testing. The last step is retest performance testing. I think it's quite straightforward for us what are the steps, and we must fulfill them to get some good performance testing and after all good application that will go on production. Next thing that is very important for us is metrics. We get some metrics in JMeter. We can choose tables, graphs. Gatling is maybe more comfortable with that because very good results that we get, and we can watch again that results. So in performance testing metrics, we have response metrics and volume measurements. What are response metrics? It's like I bring you 3: average response time, peak response time, and error rate. Average response time, we are figuring out what is the time of response for our requests, and we had some average time that is for all requests. But peak response time is very important because we have maybe one request with very long response time, and that is metric that help us to find the bottleneck that we have. So we need also peak response time for that. And if we have the peak response time, we know exactly what response is too bad, like too long, and we know then that we must improve something about that response. We are turning back to our code and see what we can improve. And error rate, we always have some errors in requests, and it's very important to find our errors and to bring us with new performance with retest to escape them and to improve our applications. But we also have volume measurements, that is concurrent users, requests per second, and throughput. Concurrent users is measurement where we can see what is the number of virtual users in our scenario that are in the same time on our applications simultaneously. So it's very important for us because of the load. Sometimes for two applications we have one load that is very good with like 50 users that are active in one time, in the same time, but for other applications that number is unacceptable and crashes our application. Also, we have the measurement requests per second, how many requests we are sending and receiving, also per second in the same time. We must know that number, and it's very important because of the load again. The most important performance testing is load performance testing. So also throughput. Throughput usually we have some error code, and that error code makes us to have some throughputs. We usually can compare two applications and see if they are similar and see what is going on. If we have some bad code and we do performance testing, throughput will say to us what is bad in our testing and application, of course. Metrics are very important for us and bring us a new view for performance testing. Because of carefully analyzing the metrics, we can improve our application, and also we can do it better. Performance testing is very important for us and for clients, and we can pay attention on performance testing. We have some also examples of performance testing, test cases that we are using, and I suppose it's very important for us to know requirement is 4 users, 4 seconds for 50 users simultaneously active on application, and based on that information we are making our test scenario and making our test. For example, in JMeter we will create one test plan and add some thread users. Thread users are like the number that we have, and we are fulfilling our scenario then with HTTP requests. JMeter has also supported many protocols, so we can do it with a lot of protocols like POP, HTTP, I don't know, many of them. We are planning and we are using that information that we have to plan, to execute. We must have some listeners also. Listeners are usually in JMeter tables, but also some pure graphs. But we can also have, for JMeter, for example, some good plugins, like a graph generator that is very good and very useful for us to have graphs in the same time with the table, and based on that we can do a good performance testing, and also we can do good application release. Some of the conclusions of mine is that we must research and examining our test tools before we start. We must follow our process, so we cannot jump into performance testing like it's very easy, because it isn't so easy, and we must carefully plan it with all the steps that we have. My suggestion is to pay attention on a non-functional testing. It's very important, like a functional also, because we need a speed, we need a reliability and scalability for our application, and it's very important for us that we have a stable application with a good responses for end users. We must do it on the right way, and when you have time you can learn about it and progress in performance testing that is very important for us. That's it. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Any questions? Ето сега момичетата с микрофоните ще дойдат. Те и Мира се казват, с сините тениски. Ще ви донесат микрофон, на който да зададете своя въпрос.
Може да вдигане на ръка или просто да
Там
извикате.
видяхме една ръка.
Или просто да извикате.
Носите ли? И тук има. Добре, ето имаме първи въпрос, докато носим там микрофон.
Hi, my question is, actually I have a couple of questions. The first one is, in your release cycle, how often do you do the performance tests?
Now I work performance testing every day because of the needs of project. It's a very large project, also one Dutch company, Blue Cello. Big team and a lot of components that are shared between the different teams in different countries. In 5 countries we have teams that work on project, and because of that it's very important to stable our application, and I do it every day.
So basically every release includes in the criteria, the exit criteria, performance test results?
Yes.
Okay, and is it integrated in your CI environment?
Yes. We are doing JMeter with Team City. That is 2 teams that are working on. My team is one of them, and the second team is using LoadRunner plus Team City also.
I guess there is no time for a quick example how is it set up, so maybe later.
It's for JMeter, it's very easy to set up it because we have some little plugin that we added to Team City. We can configure it, and it's very easy to add another plans and to spread it up.
Hello, thanks for the presentation. I have the following question. Usually we have a lot of tools. It's, let's say, easy to start the testing, but we have a heap of results. And the hardest for me work is to read them the right way, the analysis. Can you describe us shortly, as someone with experience, what is let's say the approach for a newbie in this direction?
Actually, your reading, it depends on requirements. So we must define, because of that we have a whole process in performance testing. When we define some requirements, based on that we can read the results. If it is load time good, is it speed good, if we have some bottleneck, to retest them and to make a stable product. So there is no one way to read the metrics.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Имаме ли други въпроси? Да благодарим на нашата прекрасна лекторка от Сърбия,
Dusanka,
Dusanka.
Lecic.
Thank you.
Много ти благодарим.